a prime minister who walked into the sea, a band leader who disappeared mid-flight, and a colony that left behind a single word carved in wood. What if the quietest stories are the ones that keep us awake? Stay with me to drift through history's softest riddles. Hey friends, dim the lights and let the hum of your room fall silent. You're now drifting toward the clouds of 1937. Above the Pacific, Amelia Earhart soars into history, and then vanishes into sky. Her twin-engine Lockheed Electra had traced the edges of continents, brushing past islands and borders with silent confidence. But just before her final fuel stop on tiny Howland Island, she radioed a cryptic message. Then nothing. No crash site, no wreckage, no remains. You might be picturing a gentle mist rolling over uncharted waters, swallowing her aircraft in layers of blue. Or maybe a deserted atoll, where metal whispers beneath the sand. Theories danced like waves. Japanese capture, island survival, even assumed identities, but none held her shadow. Historians still comb maps and logs, but it's the silence that lingers most. A daring woman, a plane, a radio call, and the ocean, vast and still. She didn't just disappear, she dissolved into myth. And now, as your breath slows, imagine the wings of her Electra still gliding, somewhere on the wind. You're stepping now into damp northern Britain. The year is 120 CE. The wind rustles the heather, and somewhere far beyond Hadrian's Wall, a legion marches. The 9th Legion Hispana, 5,000 trained Roman soldiers. Their footprints, frozen in time, stretch across ancient roads. But one day, they vanished. A no last battle recorded, no survivors returning, only the eerie silence of untamed lands. Did they fall to northern tribes, mutiny, or were they reassigned and forgotten in ink? You can almost hear their shields clinking in rhythm, lost among trees that no longer remember them. In York, their name disappears from stone, from scrolls, from empire memory, gone, just echoes now, in moss-covered ruins, in scholars' guesses, in novels that dream up their fate. And yet, don't you wonder what it feels like for an army to become a question? Tonight, sleep gently, like the footprints they left behind. Hey friends, take a deep breath. The year is 1590. You're standing on a quiet island off the coast of what we now call North Carolina. Something's missing. Years earlier, over 100 settlers arrived at Roanoke Island to build a new life. By the time ships returned, the colony was gone. No bodies, no blood, no sign of struggle. Just one word etched into a tree: Croatoan. It's a whisper now, a question that travels with the wind. Did they join the Croatoan tribe willingly, flee famine, or vanish into deeper woods and history? You might imagine their fires quietly extinguished, or children tiptoeing through unfamiliar paths, never to be seen again. Centuries later, their cabins are long gone, their names forgotten. But that carved word remains. Croatoan, a gentle clue or a final sigh? Let it linger as you close your eyes. There's something sacred about being softly unsolved. You are now standing at Cheviot Beach in Australia, December 1967. The waves look ordinary, but they remember. Harold Holt, Australia's sitting prime minister, waded into the surf and never returned. No distress call, no sign of panic, just the sea swallowing a man who led a nation. And then theories arrived. Sharks, strong currents, or something deeper, a secret escape, a staged vanishing. People said he swam like a seal, that he trusted the ocean. But even a seasoned swimmer leaves behind something, doesn't he? Not this time. The beach was searched, the ocean floor scoured. No Holt, no shoes, just salt and speculation. You might feel the breeze brush your skin. Picture footprints dissolving in wet sand. One man lost to water and memory. Sometimes power disappears not with thunder, but with a splash and silence. Hey friends, if stories like these pull you into their mystery, don't forget to subscribe and stay with us through the shadows. Now, let's return to Hamelin. Year 1284. The sound of a flute drifts through cobbled streets. You hear it, right? A piper appears, dressed in colors. Promised gold to rid the town of rats, and he does. But when payment is refused, he plays again. This time, the children follow. 130 kids. Into the forest. Into the hills. Gone. Some say they were led to death. Others whisper of resettlement, a plague, a migration, a curse. But no matter the theory, Hamelin never saw them again. The tale etched itself into stone. Churches marked the absence. Parents left candles in empty cribs. The flute still plays in lullabies, but its final note? Lost in wind. Let the story carry you tonight. Some disappearances don't belong to crime. They belong to music. You are hovering now above the cold skies of December 1944. A band leader is boarding a small aircraft in England, bound for Paris. Glenn Miller, the swing king. The sound of a generation. He steps into the plane, carrying his trombone, and is never seen again. No crash confirmed. No bodies found. The war's fog, literal and figurative, swallowed him whole. Did his plane fall into the channel? Was it struck by friendly fire? His music played on the radio that very night, but the man behind the rhythm vanished. People imagined him playing for angels or hiding in secret, but most believed the sky took him. Even now, his last note hangs mid-air, like a suspended trumpet breath. Let the tune fade gently, and wonder, how does sound outlive the one who made it? Hey friends, let your thoughts drift toward the early days of motion. 1890. France. A man steps onto a train and never arrives. Louis Le Prince, the father of cinematography, before Edison, before Hollywood. He filmed the first moving pictures, but just before unveiling them to the world, he vanished. No trace, no witness. Was it foul play, industrial sabotage, a quiet decision to disappear? His invention changed time, captured moments in motion, but his own final frame was never found. You might imagine his last scene, a man peering out a train window, knowing what was at stake. And then gone. To invent motion, then vanish into stillness. There's a poetry to that, isn't there? Let that quiet paradox rock you gently to sleep. You're in the shadowed halls of the Tower of London. The year is 1483. Two young princes, Edward and Richard, are placed in royal care. And then silence. They were heirs to the throne. Then they were gone. No trial, no records, no official ending. Did Richard III silence them? Did they escape in secret? Or were they buried beneath stone? Centuries later, bones were found, but certainty wasn't. Their nursery remained undisturbed, toys scattered, beds untouched. Ghosts of potential wandering behind iron gates. Even now, the tower holds more questions than echoes. And the boys, frozen in time. You might wonder, is the saddest disappearance the one that happens in childhood? Let the stones speak softly as you rest. You're walking now through dust and distance. It's 1913. American writer Ambrose Bierce sends one final letter from Mexico. Then, nothing. He had joined Pancho Villa's revolution, they said. He sought danger, the abyss, a poetic death. He once wrote, "Nothing matters," then became proof. Some believe he died in battle. Others say he chose the silence he always wrote about. His words lived, but the man behind them, gone. You can almost feel the desert sun on your skin. Hear the wind flip pages of forgotten journals. To disappear into one's own philosophy. That's a strange kind of peace, isn't it? Let that final sentence linger. Dear listener, now feel the sea mist on your cheeks. It's 1900. 3 lighthouse keepers on a remote Scottish island tend their light, until they don't. A passing ship sees the light extinguished. When rescuers arrive, the table is set. Coats missing. Clock stopped. But the men? Gone. The door was bolted from the inside. Were they swept out by waves? Victims of madness? Taken by myth? Notes spoke of storms, but the weather was calm. You might picture them standing together, watching a wave larger than time, or simply walking into the fog. Sometimes the ocean doesn't roar, it whispers, and in that hush, men vanish. You're now walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City, 1910. The air smells of winter, newspapers, and perfume. Dorothy Arnold, a 25-year-old socialite, has just purchased chocolates and a book. And then she vanishes. No carriage, no train ticket, no goodbye note. She was from wealth, Harvard educated, a writer of poems. People assumed she'd gone for a walk, but she never walked back. Rumors bloomed like frost. Was it a secret romance? A botched abortion? A breakdown? Her family hired detectives, paid ransoms, begged the press to stay quiet. Years passed, and still no Dorothy. You might imagine her footprints in snow, dissolving beneath footsteps of strangers. A bookstore bag dangling from her gloved fingers. Then the world folds in, and she's part of the silence. To leave a city that never sleeps without leaving a sound. Tonight, let that mystery follow you like falling snow. Hey, friends, feel the cold tighten around you now. It's 1845, and 2 British ships, the Erebus and Terror, set sail toward the Arctic, chasing the Northwest Passage. And then they vanish. For years, no one knew where they'd gone. Later, Inuit stories spoke of starving men. Canned food was found, still sealed. A captain's watch lay frozen in time. In 2014, their ships were found at last, preserved beneath the ice. But the crew? Some were buried on Beachy Island. Others may have wandered, seeking home through snow that never ends. The Arctic holds them still. Imagine the frost glinting on metal buttons. Footsteps that lead into white silence. What drives someone toward discovery, knowing it may be their last sunrise? Breathe in that icy hush, and let your thoughts drift like snowflakes. You're stepping into 1930s New York. Jazz spills from windows, taxis blur past, and Judge Joseph Crater leaves a restaurant and vanishes into city dusk. No body, no note, just a man who waved down a cab and never got out. He had power, enemies, secrets. The newspapers called him the missingest man in New York. His wife waited with his robe laid out on the bed. Did he flee with a mistress? Was he silenced for what he knew? His last words, "I'll be right back," and yet he never was. You might hear the elevator doors closing behind him, or feel the echo of a goodbye never spoken. Cities are loud, but disappearances are quiet. Let the silence soothe you tonight. Dear listener, let your thoughts rise now into the night sky. Australia, 1978. Frederick Valentich, a 20-year-old pilot, takes off in a small plane, flying over the Bass Strait. Mid-flight, he radios air traffic control. "There's something above me. It's not an aircraft." Then static silence, no wreckage, no trace, just a final transmission, filled with confusion and awe. Some say it was disorientation, others a hoax. A few whisper of UFOs. Frederick was never found. His voice remains, calm, then unsure. His plane vanished from radar. His family waited by the phone for years. You might imagine stars blinking quietly above him, the sea below, vast and still. To vanish between heaven and ocean is to become part of both. Float with that thought as you close your eyes. Hey, friends, step softly now into 12th century Suffolk, England. In the village of Woolpit, two children appear, trembling, lost, and with green-tinted skin. They speak no known language. Their clothes are strange. They eat only raw beans. The boy dies. The girl grows and learns English. She says they came from a place underground, where everything was green and no sun shone. And then her tale ends. Were they lost children, suffering from illness, or visitors from somewhere else? Centuries later, their story still hums through folklore. You might picture them at the forest's edge, eyes wide, hands clasped, shadows behind them, light ahead. Some disappearances begin in silence and arrive in whispers. Sleep now and let your dreams follow green footprints. It's 1938. You are near Naples, Italy. A brilliant physicist, Ettore Majorana, boards a ship and never disembarks. He had a mind to rival Einstein's. Fermi called him a genius. One moment he was there, then not. Some say he fled to a monastery, others South America. Some believe he took his life, or erased himself deliberately. He once said quantum physics was the poetry of disappearance. No body was found, no letters confirmed. Imagine a man dissolving like particles into theory. Is it possible to become your own science? Let that mystery drift through you like moonlight through a telescope. You're now on the western edge of Scotland, December 1900. 3 lighthouse keepers man a post on the Flannan Isles. Storms rage. Waves crash. When relief arrives days later, the lighthouse is empty. The lamp is unlit. Food is untouched. A chair is overturned. Coats are missing, but only 2. No bodies, no goodbye. Some say a rogue wave took them. Others whisper madness or mutiny. Their logbook mentions a strange storm, but weather records say it was calm. You might imagine 3 men staring into a sky too wide for answers. Sometimes the sea does not take, it swallows. Let the winds of Flannan lull you to sleep. Hey friends, walk with me through 1949 Los Angeles. Neon signs flicker. Palm trees sway. Gene Spangler, an aspiring actress, kisses her daughter goodbye and walks into the evening. She is never seen again. Her purse is found in Griffith Park with a note. Kirk can't wait any longer. Going to see Dr. Scott. It will work best this way. The note ends like a breath half spoken. Some said she was pregnant. Others whispered about Hollywood affairs, maybe even Kirk Douglas. But John was never found, not her shoes, not her shadow. You might picture her silhouette passing beneath a street lamp, golden light spilling across pavement. Sometimes dreams disappear while chasing dreams. Let that hush carry you now. You're now in Missouri, 1967. 3 young boys, Joel, Billy, and Craig, explore a network of caves beneath the town of Hannibal. Then, nothing. Rescue crews searched for weeks. Dogs, sonar, volunteers. The caves were mapped, braced, lit. No sign. Were they trapped in a collapse? Lost in endless tunnels? Or taken? No sounds, no footprints, just 3 friends swallowed by stone. Their bicycles remained near the cave entrance, waiting. You might imagine their laughter fading into echo, flashlights dancing across limestone walls. Innocence lost to earth. And now the caves are sealed, but their silence echoes. Let your thoughts drift downward, where mystery lives in shadow. Hey friends, as we end this chapter, remember, if you enjoy slipping into these stories, don't forget to subscribe. There's much more mystery waiting in the next pages of time. Now, step into Nuremberg, 1828. A teenage boy appears, barely able to speak, clutching a letter. He says he's been raised in darkness, alone, no name, no past. His manners are strange, his knowledge shallow. He learns quickly, gains fame. Then, just as suddenly, he's stabbed, perhaps by himself, or perhaps by someone else. He dies whispering something no one understands. Was he a lost prince, a pawn, a fraud? You might picture him staring at his own reflection, wondering if that boy had ever truly lived. To appear out of nowhere and vanish into myth. Rest now. Some questions are meant to echo. You are now beneath the gray skies of Wales, 1995. The air is heavy, and the lyrics of a poet pulse in the background. Richie Edwards, the guitarist and lyricist for Manic Street Preachers, checks out of his hotel and vanishes. His car is later found near the Severn Bridge, abandoned, but no body is ever discovered. Richie was known for intensity, for bleeding truths into lyrics, for his struggle with demons, both internal and unseen. Did he jump, disappear by choice, or step into a different kind of silence? His bandmates kept his royalties untouched, his room unspoken of, as if awaiting his return. You might imagine him on a coastal path, notebook in hand, walking toward a fog that only he could see. To live loudly and vanish quietly, that's the paradox, isn't it? Let his final chord hum gently through your thoughts tonight. Hey friends, dim the lights and lean closer. Somewhere in the Atlantic, between maps and myth, lies St. Brendan's Isle. Or rather, it doesn't. First described by Irish monks around the 6th century, this enchanted island would appear and disappear. Sailors swore they saw it. Some even claimed to land there. But when ships returned, the island was gone again. Charts from the 15th century mark its shifting shape, floating just beyond reach. Was it a volcanic island swallowed by tides, a mirage, a memory? Some believe it was never there at all, but legends say it shimmered with trees, glowing fish, and songs without voices. You might picture it still, cloaked in mist, hiding just 1 nautical mile beyond your belief. Is it possible for a place to exist simply because we hoped it did? Sleep on that thought as the sea sings softly in your mind. You're now in Louisiana, 1912. A 4-year-old boy named Bobby Dunbar disappears while on a fishing trip. 8 months later, a boy is found in Mississippi and claimed as Bobby. But 25 years later, another woman says, "That's my son. His name is Bruce." Confused? So were they. Court battles, newspapers, tears. The boy grew up as Bobby. But decades later, DNA revealed he wasn't. So where did the real Bobby Dunbar go? Was he taken, lost, or did everyone believe the story they needed? You might imagine 2 families staring across a courtroom, one holding truth, the other hope. A child once found, still lost, and sometimes answers only deepen the mystery. Let that question linger like a lullaby missing its final line. Hey, friends, step softly into the red canyons of Utah. It's 1934. A young artist, poet, and wanderer named Everett Roos vanishes while traveling the Southwest. He left behind carved initials in stone. Nemo, Latin for no one. His camp was found, his mules tethered, but he was not. Was he lost to nature, taken, or did he choose the wilderness forever? His letters glowed with longing, for silence, for space, for wildness untouched. You might see him even now, painting under a sandstone arch, lost in color and echo. He became what he sought, mystery carved into earth. To vanish into beauty, that too is a kind of poetry. Let it carry you into sleep, soft as desert wind. You're now in West Virginia, Christmas Eve, 1945. The Sodder family home is ablaze. 5 of the 10 children are never seen again. But no remains are found. Firefighters say the blaze couldn't have burned hot enough to erase all trace. A phone line was cut, a ladder removed. Later, a woman claims she saw the children at a roadside cafe. A photo arrives in the mail, a boy resembling one of the lost. But the trail fades. Were the children taken? Did they escape? Or was it something far stranger? The Sodder parents built a billboard on Route 16 with their children's faces. It stood for decades. You might imagine 5 small footsteps in snow, vanishing behind a barn. Not all fires destroy. Some leave behind a smoke that never clears. Let your breath rise and fall like a forgotten chimney. Dear listener, let's return to 1809. A diplomatic mission gone wrong. Benjamin Bathurst waits at a coaching inn in Prussia. He steps outside and disappears. His coat and sword are found. His servant hears nothing. One moment he's adjusting his cloak. The next, he's gone. Was he robbed, assassinated? Did he step between worlds? Some say he was a casualty of war. Others believe he fell through a rip in time. You might picture him mid-step, boot just touching earth, before being claimed by something unspeakable. For a diplomat, silence was his trade, and in the end it became his legacy. Let that stillness fold gently over your thoughts. Hey friends, take a breath with me. The year is 1812. The daughter of U.S. Vice President Aaron Burr, Theodosia, boards the schooner Patriot in South Carolina. She never arrives in New York. Some say pirates, others a storm. A few imagine she lived on, far from politics and sorrow. Her belongings washed ashore decades later, or so they said. Aaron Burr never recovered. "She is dead," he wrote, "but not lost." You might picture her standing at the bow, wind in her hair, reading poetry to the sea. Some disappear not in tragedy, but in elegance. Let the waves whisper her name as you fall into sleep. You're now in modern times. A curious twist. Thomas Pynchon, the acclaimed novelist, has been seen by almost no one. Not truly. He gives no interviews, has no recent verified photo. Some say he walks among us unnoticed. Was that him in the diner, on the subway? His words reveal vast conspiracies, secret messages, vanishing points. You might imagine him at the edge of a crowd, listening, smiling, stepping away just before the flash. In a world saturated with faces, his is a whisper. Can someone be everywhere and nowhere? Let that thought blink softly behind your eyelids. Step now into ancient Egypt. The sands are warm beneath your feet. Among the mysteries of the Amarna period, one figure glimmers. Nefertiti, a co-ruler, possibly female, possibly Nefertiti, or someone else entirely. She ruled beside Akhenaten, then vanished from records. Her name was erased, her statues broken. Was it politics, betrayal, or did she choose oblivion? You might see her stepping away from a sunlit temple, jewelry glinting, taking history with her. In hieroglyphs, sometimes absence says more than presence. Let the golden dust settle as you dream of queens without graves. Hey, friends! Here at the end of Part 3, remember, if you enjoy these quiet mysteries through time, don't forget to subscribe. There's a whole sea of shadows ahead. Now, step into 1961, Papua New Guinea. Michael Rockefeller, son of a powerful family, disappears while collecting tribal art. His canoe capsized. He swam for shore and vanished. Searches were launched. Rumors stirred. Some said he made it, only to meet a darker fate. Others believe he was welcomed into a tribe, never to return. He loved art, culture, mystery, and then he became one. You might picture his final swim, not in fear, but in awe, toward something sacred and unknown. To seek the world and be claimed by it. Let that story ripple across your dreams. You are now beneath the ancient domes of Vatican City. It's 1983. A 15-year-old girl, Emanuela Orlandi, walks home from a music lesson and never arrives. She was the daughter of a Vatican employee. Her disappearance was quiet at first. Then came the calls, theories, whispers of political blackmail, organized crime, or something deeper, inside the Vatican itself. Posters with her face faded on stone walls. Decades passed. No body, no trace, just a lingering fog. Was she hidden in the catacombs, taken across borders, or did the truth sleep behind locked doors? You might imagine her violin case resting against a pew, unopened, to disappear in the world's smallest country and never leave its shadow. Let the bells of Rome lull you tonight. Hey, friends, dim the lights and travel back to 53 BCE. The Roman general Crassus has just suffered a brutal defeat in Parthia, but thousands of his men, his legionaries, weren't killed. They simply vanished. Later, Chinese records mention a mysterious army of disciplined soldiers, fighting in strange formation. Could they be the Lost Legion? Some historians believe they wandered east, became mercenaries, and disappeared into dynasties and dust. Others say they perished in the desert, their armor swallowed by time. You might imagine them marching under foreign stars, still calling orders in Latin. To serve an empire, and then be claimed by another. Let that silence fill the distance between languages and lifetimes. You're now in snowy Toronto, 1919. Theater tycoon Ambrose Small has just sold his chain of theaters for a fortune. And then he disappears within 24 hours. No ransom, no signs of struggle, no farewell. His office door was locked from the inside. Some say he was murdered by a rival. Others whisper about secret tunnels beneath his theaters. And a few think he staged it all himself. His wife waited. His ghost was rumored to roam the Grand Opera House. You might hear his footsteps echo on a velvet stage. The curtain half drawn. Some disappearances are as dramatic as the roles we never play. Let your dreams take the final bow tonight. Hey, friends, sail with me to the icy north. In 1611, explorer Henry Hudson ventures into the bay that now bears his name. But his crew, weary and cold, mutinies. Hudson is set adrift in a small boat with his son and is never seen again. The Arctic closes in. The water is still. The ice creeps quietly. Did he survive a while, hunting and hoping, or did the cold take them that same day? His journals stopped, but the map kept his name. You might picture him staring at a horizon of endless white, the sun never quite rising. To give your name to the world, and be forgotten by it. Let the wind on water carry you softly away. You are now aboard a catamaran drifting through the South Pacific. The year is 2002. Retired NBA player Beeson Dale. His girlfriend, brother, and boat captain vanish at sea. Weeks later, only the brother, Miles aboard, is found, alone, and soon dead. No final radio call. No clear story. The boat was recovered with signs of foul play, but the sea, once again, kept its secret. Bison had left basketball for peace, sailing, writing, disappearing from fame, and then he truly disappeared. You might imagine him floating on open waters, eyes closed, arms wide to the wind. Some find freedom, others are found by it. Let the sails whisper a lullaby tonight. Hey friends, let your thoughts drift toward the frozen edges of Canada. In 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle visits an Inuit village near Anjikuni Lake. He finds it completely deserted. Meals are left unfinished. Fires still burn low. Dogs are frozen, still tied to posts. Graves are empty. No struggle, no blood, just absence. The RCMP later disputed the account, but others insisted this village had truly vanished. Did they migrate suddenly, fall victim to something unseen? You might picture footprints in snow, ending at the lake's edge. Some silences are so complete, they feel sacred. Let that stillness wrap around you like a wool blanket. You are now in New York, 1974. A singer-songwriter ahead of her time, Connie Converse writes one last letter, packs her belongings into a Volkswagen Beetle, and drives away. She's never seen again. Her music, strange, soft, brilliant, was rediscovered decades later. She had long wanted to leave. Human society fascinates me, she once wrote, but I am part of it only as a satire. Did she start a new life, or end the one she knew? You might imagine her at a gas station, humming a melody no one else would hear. To vanish isn't always to flee. Sometimes it's just to rest. Let her voice echo quietly through your thoughts. Dear listener, now step softly into medieval France. The 15th century poet François Villon, known for wit and rebellion, was last seen after a prison release in 1463. And then he vanishes from history. He had once written, "Where are the snows of yesteryear?" A fitting question, isn't it? No one knows how he died, or where. No grave, no final verse. Some say he changed his name. Others believe he wandered, pen in hand, living poem to poem. You might see him in a tavern's corner, scribbling beneath candlelight, then slipping into the night. To disappear is to leave the last line unwritten. Let that silence be your rhyme. Hey friends, let's turn to 1826 in upstate New York. William Morgan planned to publish a book exposing the secrets of Freemasonry. Then he was arrested, released, and disappeared days later. Some said he was murdered. Others said he was paid to leave the country. A few believed he became someone else entirely. His book was published. Riots followed. The anti-Masonic Party was born. But William, he became more powerful missing than alive. You might imagine him watching it unfold from afar, sipping coffee under a new name, to spark a movement by vanishing. That's quite a trick, isn't it? Let your mind rest in the hush between secrets. You're now in Cairo, 1406. Ibn Khaldun, one of history's first sociologists, pens his final reflections. A work rumored to be his boldest. Then it disappears. Scholars mention it, letters allude to it, but no copy remains. Did it burn in a library fire? Was it hidden by those he challenged? His earlier works reshaped how we understand history, society, and cycles of power. But his final thoughts? Gone like wind across desert dunes. You might picture ink drying on parchment, only to be buried by time itself. To lose a book is to lose 1,000 voices. Let that quiet page turn softly in your dreams. Hey, friends, dim the lights and feel the hush of 1930s Boston. Barbara Newhall Follett, once a literary prodigy, writes her first novel at age 12 and vanishes at 25. One winter evening, after an argument with her husband, she leaves their apartment. No coat, no bag, just her stepping into the night. And never returns. She had once written about imaginary worlds and hidden forests. Her words shimmered with magic and escape. Did she begin a new story of her own? Or did sorrow silence her final page? No police report was filed for 2 weeks. No body ever found. Only unanswered letters and fading ink. You might picture her strolling past lamp-lit houses, humming verses to the moon. To vanish isn't always a tragedy. Sometimes it's a sentence with no punctuation. Let her last chapter linger gently with you tonight. You're now drifting through golden legends of ancient India. The wise and just Emperor Vikramaditya, whose court sparkled with poets and riddles, once vanished into the forests and never returned. Some say he left to conquer demons. Others say he sought truth through wandering. No grave, no records, only parables. In one tale, he travels each night to retrieve a ghost-bound corpse. In another, he's reborn to teach humility. Was he ever real, or is his disappearance part of the tale itself? You might see him, crowned but barefoot, vanishing into moonlit jungle. Sometimes the greatest rulers step down, not from a throne, but into myth. Let that ancient silence comfort your own. Dear listener, let's pause in Brazil, 1923. In the quiet village of Joer Verde, 600 people simply disappear. Homes were abandoned, meals left half-eaten, Radios silent. Dogs wandered. No signs of struggle, no farewell. Theories tangle like vines. Military intervention, forced relocation, or something stranger still. When a search team arrived, they found just one phrase painted across a blackboard. There is no salvation. You might imagine the final sunset casting shadows across empty doorways, and the hush that follows. To lose a single person is sorrow. To lose an entire town, that's something else. Let the breeze carry their absence through your dreams. Hey friends, step aboard a tiny sailboat called Ocean Wave. It's 1975. Dutch artist Bas Jan Ader departs Cape Cod, aiming to cross the Atlantic solo, for art. Weeks later, the boat is found off the coast of Ireland, broken. He is not. Ader's work was about gravity, falling, vanishing. One of his final pieces was titled, In Search of the Miraculous. Some believe he died at sea. Others think the disappearance was part of the art. You might picture him alone on the water, looking into waves that answer with stillness. To become your own metaphor, how strange, how perfect. Let the tide rock you gently now. You are now sailing into ancient waters. Pytheas, a Greek explorer from 4th century BCE, journeyed far beyond known maps, into icy lands, midnight suns, and magnetic stones. He returned to tell the tale, but his journals? Gone. What remains are fragments, quotes by others, whispers of a place called Thule. Did his writings vanish in fire? Or were they too strange to preserve? You might picture him beneath polar skies, scribbling words no one yet understood. When you lose a map-maker's voice, you lose a whole direction. Let the stars guide you softly toward forgotten shores. Hey friends, imagine London, 1974. Lord Lucan, a British aristocrat, is accused of murder. That same night, he disappears. His car is found, blood-stained, abandoned near the coast. Did he take his life? Escape abroad? Become someone else? Sightings came from Australia, Africa, even a monastery. But none confirmed. His friends stayed loyal. His enemies stayed curious. And his story, it stayed open. You might picture him in a tailored coat, walking calmly toward the sea, a fog rolling in. To vanish is one thing. To vanish with a title, that echoes longer. Let his last step blend into the mist. You're now standing beside a man lying behind a Burger King dumpster in 2004. He has no ID, no memory, no name. For years, he's called himself Benjamin Kyle. Doctors confirmed amnesia. The public searched. Faces were compared. No matches. He remembered nothing, but made friends, grew a beard, and began again. Years later, a DNA test revealed his true identity. But the man who emerged didn't recognize the name. You might imagine his gaze in the mirror, searching for a self he'd never met. Can you lose your past and still live forward? Let that question cradle your breath tonight. Hey friends, take a deep breath and feel the neon glow of Beijing. In 2018, Fan Bingbing, China's biggest actress, vanishes from the public view. No posts, no red carpets, no explanation. Months later, she reemerges, fined for tax evasion. Silent, changed. But what happened during her absence? Some say house arrest. Others whisper of government pressure, hidden trials. Her face once lit every screen. Her smile, a brand. And then, a pause. You might imagine her backstage, makeup removed, the lights off. Some disappearances happen in full view. Let the quiet between spotlights soothe your eyes. You're now on an Australian beach, 1948. A man lies dead in the sand. No wounds, no ID. Just a slip of paper in his pocket. Tamam Shud. It is finished. They never find his name. Later, a suitcase turns up. A hidden message. A book with a phone number. Some think he was a spy. Others, a lost lover. Theories ripple like tide. But the man remains unknown. You might picture him sitting alone the night before, listening to waves, knowing his part in the story was almost over. To arrive nameless and remain so, let the meaning of finished lull you. Dear listener, as we close this chapter, don't forget, if you're enjoying these gentle mysteries, subscribe so you won't miss what's next. And now we step into New York City, 1978. Chess prodigy Peter Winston walks away from his home and vanishes. He had once beaten champions, then began to lose games and something else, clarity. No sightings, no notes, just footsteps dissolving into a city's hum. Was it mental illness, a desire for silence, or something far stranger? You might imagine him watching a park chess game from afar, hood up, unseen. To retreat from a game, from fame, from everything. Let that final move rest in your mind. You are now in the simmering summer of Sydney, 1926. Frederick MacDonald, a federal politician, boards a train after confronting a rival in court. He never makes it home. His luggage is later found, but he is not. No body, no shoes, just stillness. He had been investigating corruption, or perhaps he was just tired of noise. Some believe he fled. Others suspect murder. A few say he never truly planned to return. You might picture his seat by the window, untouched, the landscape rushing past unnoticed. When the journey ends too quietly, we're left wondering if it ended at all. Let the rattle of old train tracks soothe your thoughts tonight. Hey friends, dim the lights and lean into legend. The 18th century courts of Europe were enchanted by a man with no past. The Count of Saint-Germain. He never aged, knew every language, composed music. Alchemists whispered he held the elixir of life. He appeared, then vanished. Reappeared decades later, unchanged. Some said he died in 1784, but letters dated years after bore his name. You might imagine him bowing in candlelight, sipping wine laced with centuries. Was he real? A spy? A trickster? Or something eternal? To be remembered without roots. That's a riddle that never wilts. Let his shadow dance beside your dreams. You're now standing on the coast of Cornwall, England. The sea sings a song older than history. Beneath its surface, they say, lies Lyonesse, a kingdom swallowed in a single night. Church bells still echo beneath the waves, fishermen claim. And sometimes, on calm days, you can see stone towers below. Was it a myth, an island lost to sea rise, or a memory of something real? King Arthur's last battle was said to be fought here, and when Lyonesse sank, only one knight escaped. You might picture a golden spire peeking through blue, vanishing like a breath. To lose a place is to lose a piece of the world's imagination. Let the tides cradle you softly. Hey friends, let's return briefly to 1930s Manhattan. Judge Joseph Force Crater, wealthy, sharp, rising fast, steps into a taxi after dinner and vanishes forever. No ransom, no goodbye, just a man who simply went missing. His safe deposit box had been emptied. His mistress vanished soon after. files gone. Was he escaping scandal or silenced before he could speak? You might imagine him tipping his hat to no one in particular, vanishing into a crowd of hats and smoke. Some exits echo longer than arrivals. Let the silence between cobblestones guide you to sleep. You are now aboard the steamer Dresden, crossing the English Channel in 1913. Rudolf Diesel, the inventor of the engine that bears his name, steps onto deck for a walk. By morning he's gone. His hat and coat are neatly folded by the railing. Days later, a body is pulled from the sea, but it's never officially identified. Was it suicide, accident, or industrial sabotage? He had enemies, and ideas too big for his time. You might picture the engine's hum echoing through fog as the inventor slips quietly into it. Some disappearances are too quiet for history to hear. Let the hum of forgotten machines rock you gently tonight. Hey friends, reach now for a story etched not in blood, but in blank pages. William Shakespeare, creator of worlds, left behind no original manuscripts. Not one, not a single play in his own hand survives. Were they burned, hidden, lost to careless candlelight? Even his signature appears only a handful of times, each one different. You might imagine him writing by moonlight, a line half-finished as he turns toward an open window. To leave so much and take nothing with you, let that elegant absence drift like parchment through your thoughts. You are now returning to 1890, France. A man steps onto a train and melts from memory. Louis Le Prince filmed the first moving picture. Years before Edison. Years before Hollywood. And just before unveiling his invention, he disappears. Some say it was murder. Others, espionage. Some think he started over, quietly watching cinema bloom without his name. His son later died under suspicious circumstances before testifying in a legal case about patents. You might imagine Le Prince watching the flicker of a silent film, smiling faintly, unknown. Sometimes invention requires invisibility. Let the frames of memory flicker gently as you rest. Dear listener, now step into the shifting sands of Arabia. Ancient texts speak of Ubar, a city of pillars ruled by merchants and kings, and then it vanishes. Some say God buried it as punishment for arrogance. Others blame desert collapse or endless wind. For centuries it was myth. Then, in the 1990s, satellite images revealed underground ruins where it was said to stand. Had Ubar been real all along? You might picture domes of white stone, slowly sinking beneath waves of time and dust. Some cities live longer in imagination than in stone. Let the dunes settle softly in your breath tonight. You are now beneath the domes of Central Asia. Babur, founder of the Mughal Empire, wished his heart to be buried in Kabul. His body lies in a serene garden. But the heart? No one knows. Was it taken secretly, buried in a hidden tomb, or lost to war and retelling? His poetry spoke of longing for Kabul's air, for snow, for silence. You might imagine a heart cradled in a silver urn, resting where mountains kiss the sky. To have an empire, and yet leave no trace of your heartbeat. Let that quiet thrum echo in your chest tonight. Hey friends, as we close Part 6, remember, if you're enjoying these peaceful puzzles, subscribe to stay wrapped in wonder. Now journey to 1926. The queen of mystery fiction, Agatha Christie, drives away from her home in a moment of distress. She disappears for 11 days. A national manhunt begins. Her car is found near a quarry, but she's alive, checked into a hotel under another name. She claims amnesia. Some say it was grief, others revenge. She never explained. You might imagine her watching the news about herself, sipping tea from behind a newspaper. To write mysteries and become one. Let her unsolved chapter rest beside yours. Hey friends, you're now floating through the sky in December 1944. A plane hums softly over the English Channel. Inside, Glenn Miller, the legendary swing band leader, sits with his trombone case by his feet. And then, nothing. No radio call, no distress signal, no wreckage ever confirmed. One of the most famous musicians of the 20th century simply vanished in midair. Some believe his plane iced over. Others whisper about military cover-ups or navigational mishaps. A few suggest something else entirely. But his music still plays, in hotel lobbies, in old radios, in the hum of memory. You might imagine him tapping a rhythm on the dashboard, looking out toward the clouds, composing one last tune. Sometimes the silence between notes is the story. Let that melody hum you into rest. You're now deep in the Amazon. The year is 1925. Colonel Percy Fawcett, a British explorer, strides into the jungle with his son, searching for the lost city he calls Zed, and never returns. No remains, no final message, just campfires gone cold and rumors carried on wind. Some say they were killed by tribes. Others say they found Z and stayed. A few believe they entered a world unmarked by maps. Fawcett wrote, "The forest holds its secrets well." You might picture him brushing aside vines, stepping beneath a stone arch carved with forgotten symbols. To chase mystery and become one, let the jungle's hush wrap around your sleep tonight. Hey friends, feel the warm breeze roll off the waves of Cheviot Beach again. It's December 1967, and Prime Minister Harold Holt wades into the ocean for a swim. And never returns. Australia's leader, a strong swimmer, a bright day, and yet gone. Was it a riptide, a staged escape, a secret defection? Search teams scoured the sea. Tributes were held, but not a single trace was ever found. You might picture his head disappearing beneath a wave, not in panic, but peace. To be carried away by the very element you trusted most. Let the surf whisper over your thoughts as you drift. You're now in Los Angeles, 1928. 9-year-old Walter Collins vanishes while running errands. Weeks later, the LAPD returns a boy to his mother, but she insists this isn't her son. Authorities push back. She's institutionalized. Eventually, they admit she's right. The real Walter is still missing. Years pass. Serial killers are questioned. Graves are searched. But Walter never found. You might picture a mother standing alone at a train platform, eyes searching every child's face. Sometimes, the cruelest disappearances are the ones with replacements. Let your breath slow, and your heart hold space for the unknown. Hey friends, step now onto the dusty slopes of Gallipoli, 1915. Amidst war and fog, the 1st 5th Battalion of the Norfolk Regiment advances into the mist and never emerges. No bodies were recovered, no prisoners returned. Witnesses claimed the battalion simply vanished. Was it enemy fire or something stranger, fog too thick for time to pierce? Years later, remains were discovered, but doubts linger. You might picture rows of soldiers walking into a rising fog, uniforms blending with sky. To be swallowed not by war, but by silence. Let that fog settle softly over your mind. You're now high on Mount Everest, The year is 1924. George Mallory and Andrew Irvine attempt the summit and vanish into snow. For decades, no one knew if they'd reached the top. In 1999, Mallory's body was found, perfectly preserved by ice, but his camera gone. Did he conquer Everest before anyone else? He had once been asked why he wanted to climb it. "Because it's there," he replied. You might imagine him reaching out toward a jagged skyline, clouds parting just enough to tempt fate. To disappear above the world is to become part of its ceiling. Let the snow settle quietly as you rest. Hey friends, let's return once more to the icy north. The year is 1611. Henry Hudson has been set adrift by his mutinous crew in a small open boat, with his son beside him. He's never seen again. The bay bears his name. His journals remain. But his ending? Lost to cold water and colder loyalties. You might imagine him rowing beneath auroras, his breath a mist of determination and regret. To chart the unknown and be claimed by it. Let the ripples of that final paddle lull you into stillness. You are now standing in Dealey Plaza, Dallas, 1963. Amid the chaos of JFK's assassination, one woman stands calmly, filming. She wears a headscarf, like a babushka. Her camera is steady, but she's never identified. The FBI asked for witnesses to come forward. She didn't. Her footage never surfaced. Who was she? A bystander? A spy? A symbol? You might imagine her film still tucked away in a quiet attic drawer, silent and undeveloped. To hold history and never share it, let the shutter click gently in your dreams. Hey friends, picture the green thickets of Cambodia in 1970. Sean Flynn, son of actor Errol Flynn, was covering the Vietnam War as a photojournalist. He rode off on a motorbike with a fellow reporter and disappeared. Some say Khmer Rouge. Others think he was held for years. A few hope he lived on, hidden. No confirmed remains were ever found. You might imagine him with a camera slung over his shoulder, walking into shadowed jungle, chasing a story too close. To photograph war and become a part of its frame. Let that last click echo softly as you fall asleep. Dear listener, as we complete this section of silent puzzles, don't forget. If these stories cradle your curiosity, subscribe to stay adrift in wonder. Now, step into the cool hills of Malaysia, 1967. Jim Thompson, former spy and founder of Thailand's silk industry, goes for an afternoon walk and never returns. Search parties comb the jungle. Dogs, helicopters, villagers. Nothing. No torn clothing, no tracks, just green silence. Was it a tiger, foul play, or a man deciding to vanish? You might picture him stepping off a path, drawn by a single bird call into dense thickets. To weave silk and slip from sight like a thread. Let that thread curl gently into your dreams. Hey friends, dim the lights and picture the British seaside in 1956. Commander Lionel Crabb, a decorated Royal Navy diver, dives beneath a Soviet warship docked in Portsmouth. He never resurfaces. The government remained silent. Later, they claimed he was missing, presumed dead. But his file, sealed for 100 years, raises more questions than it answers. Was he spying? Captured? Did something go wrong deep below? Rumors floated. Body doubles, defection, a secret second life. You might imagine him drifting through underwater currents, slipping into deeper blue. To serve in silence and be swallowed by it. Let the water hold you now, like a slow breath in the dark. You're now in Philadelphia, 1949. Dorothy Forstein is home alone. Her children are upstairs. A neighbor hears a noise. When her daughter comes down, Dorothy is gone. No signs of struggle, no open doors, just an empty room and a child's story. A man picked up Mommy, but no fingerprints, no trace. She was never seen again. Her husband had once been a magistrate, involved in criminal cases. Was it revenge or something stranger? You might picture a mother's coat on the chair, one button undone, a cup of tea still warm. To vanish from your own home is to leave absence in every corner. Let the room grow quiet now, with only the sound of your breath. You are now among the sunlit columns of ancient Athens. Chrysippus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, was known for reason, wit, and an unusual ending. Legend says he once watched a donkey eat figs, laughed so hard, he vanished from history. Did he truly die laughing, or did someone erase his final days? Was the tale meant to humble the wise? His writings, over 700 works, mostly disappeared too. Lost in fires, neglect, or time's slow drift. You might imagine him strolling through an olive grove, smile lingering, thoughts heavier than marble. To vanish with laughter on your lips, isn't that a kind of peace? Let that soft chuckle settle beside your pillow tonight. Hey friends, let's revisit a man who vanished into his own story. In 1913, Ambrose Bierce, journalist, cynic, and Civil War veteran, travels to Mexico during Revolution. His last letter says, "As to me, I leave here tomorrow for an unknown destination." And that's all. Did he join the fighting? Was he killed? Or did he simply walk into legend? Bierce often wrote about ghosts, war, and the blur between life and memory. You might imagine him tipping his hat at a border checkpoint, vanishing with the dust. To end your life like a sentence, half-finished and echoing. Let that final period rest beneath your dreams. You're now entering the echoing halls of 17th century France. In the Bastille, a prisoner lives for decades. His face? Always hidden beneath a mask of black velvet, or iron. His identity was never confirmed. Voltaire claimed he was a twin of King Louis XIV. Others thought a disgraced noble or political scapegoat. Guards were sworn to secrecy. His meals passed in silence, and when he died, all records were destroyed. You might picture his footsteps in his cell, slow and measured, a window casting moonlight on locked eyes. To wear silence for a lifetime, what stories did he never tell? Let your thoughts mask themselves now in stillness. Hey friends, now step into the rainy streets of Baltimore, 1849. Edgar Allan Poe is found delirious, wearing clothes that aren't his. 4 days later, he dies, uttering only the name Reynolds. Where had he been? What had happened? Theories range from alcohol to political kidnapping to rabies. He was found near a polling place, but his movements remain untraced. You might imagine him stumbling through foggy alleys, the city whispering back in verse. To vanish not in death, but just before it. That's a poet's twist. Let the raven rest tonight in softer feathers. You're now back in West Virginia, Christmas Eve, 1945. 5 children are said to have died in a fire, but no bones are found. Years later, rumors emerge. Sightings. A photo mailed anonymously. A billboard placed by their parents remains for decades. The mystery deepens with every year. Did they perish? Were they taken? Did they escape something worse? You might picture a small shoe, untouched by ash resting on a windowsill. To search for decades is to love without rest. Let that search settle now quietly beside your breath. Hey, friends, feel the cold breath of Russia, 1916. Rasputin, the mystic monk said to heal the royal family, has stirred both worship and hatred, but his final days, still shrouded. He was reportedly poisoned, shot, and drowned, but his body lost to revolution. Some believe it was burned. Others say hidden. A few whisper that Rasputin predicted it all. You might imagine his eyes lingering in candlelight, a voice muttering secrets to stone walls, to be feared, loved, and vanquished, and yet never found. Let his shadow retreat into your dreams tonight. You are now in Paris, 1832. Champollion, who unlocked Egyptian hieroglyphs, dies suddenly, young. His last translations, gone. Some say they were lost in travel, others that they were suppressed. Too powerful, too strange. He had once written, "I am Egypt." You might imagine an unfinished scroll resting on his desk, sand caught between the pages. To decipher the past and lose your own future. Let ancient whispers carry you across time. Dear listener, as we close Part 8, remember, if these stories feel like calm riddles before sleep, subscribe and follow us deeper into time's softest corners. Now, picture Brazil, 1966. Two men are found dead on a hillside, wearing lead masks over their eyes. No injuries. A cryptic note beside them. Protect metals, await signal. They were radio technicians. They'd left home calmly. Some suggest cults, others failed experiments. Perhaps something else entirely. The masks were handmade. The mystery remains untouched. You might imagine them lying back, side by side, waiting for a signal no one else could hear, to prepare for something invisible and never explain why. Let the signal fade softly as you rest. Hey, friends, dim the lights and let the fog roll in. It's 1763, in the English village of Shepton Mallet. Owen Parfit, elderly, paralyzed, and mostly bedridden, sits outside his home, waiting in the sun. Moments later, he is gone. He couldn't walk. He couldn't stand. Yet no one saw him leave. A coat lay draped over his chair, that's all. Neighbors whispered of supernatural forces, pirates, old enemies. Some claimed the devil came for him. But no one saw anything. You might picture his empty chair rocking slightly in the breeze, as though memory itself had sat down and stood up again. To disappear when you cannot move is to leave even gravity wondering. Let the stillness of his absence ease your thoughts. You're now on the coast of California, 1942. A U.S. Navy blimp, L-8, lifts off with two men aboard. A routine flight. Hours later, the blimp floats back inland, with no one inside. It crashes gently into a street. No signs of struggle. Parachutes untouched. Life jackets still there. Where did the men go? Some say they fell into the ocean. Others suggest sabotage, desertion, or something more elusive. You might imagine the blimp drifting silently, its shadow moving across rooftops, untethered from purpose, to vanish from the sky without a fall. Let the soft rustle of wind guide you to sleep. Hey, friends, take a breath and return to 1863. Solomon Northup, whose memoir 12 Years a Slave brought light to injustice, is last seen preparing for a lecture tour. And then, nothing. He had reclaimed freedom, gained fame, but his final years, lost, No obituary, no grave, no farewell. Did he die quietly? Was he silenced once more? Or did he simply choose peace away from the spotlight? You might imagine him walking a quiet path beneath trees, content to be known, and finally alone. To live two lives and leave both without a goodbye. Let that echo hold gently in your chest. You're now aboard a ship sailing into the Atlantic, 1779. Thomas Lynch, Jr., a signer of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, is headed to France for health reasons. The ship never arrives. No debris, no message in a bottle, just sea and silence. Some suggest illness took him before the ocean did. Others imagine pirates, or storms, or something beyond charts and compass. He was the youngest signer, and the only one whose fate remains unknown. You might picture ink drying on parchment, the signature still crisp, while its bearer slips beneath the horizon. To sign your name on history and disappear from it. Let that page turn quietly tonight. Hey, friends, set sail now into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. It's 1918. The USS Cyclops, a massive Navy ship, vanishes with 306 people aboard. No SOS, no wreckage, no survivors. The ship had sent no distress call. The weather was calm. Its disappearance remains the single largest loss of life in U.S. Navy history, not involving combat. Was it sabotage, structural failure, or something stranger? You might imagine its smokestacks fading into mist, swallowed not by storm, but by something quieter. To vanish so completely is to leave only questions afloat. Let the sea settle gently beneath your thoughts. You are now in 15th century France. Agnès Sorel, the famed mistress of King Charles VII, dies suddenly at age 28. Historians later find high levels of mercury in her body. Was it treatment or poison? And where exactly are her remains now? Her tomb was disturbed. Her relics moved. Some say her skull resides in a private collection. Others claim it's lost entirely. You might imagine a velvet-gloved hand setting down a jeweled mirror, never to return. To live famously and vanish in fragments, let that mirror reflect your calm tonight. Hey friends, feel the crisp air of Scotland, 1805. John Robison, a physicist, inventor, and Illuminati theorist, writes passionately against secret societies. Then his final letters stop. His papers scatter. Some say he was silenced. Others believe he withdrew voluntarily, fearing he'd learned too much. Robison once said, "A whisper in a quiet place is a thunderclap in a cathedral." You might imagine him extinguishing a candle, locking away a final manuscript, and stepping into deeper night. To warn the world and fade from it, let that candle flicker softly behind your eyelids. You're now inside an Italian villa centuries ago. A canvas sits against the wall, a self-portrait by Leonardo da Vinci, said to be his most revealing. And now, gone. Some say it was stolen, others that it was hidden by the artist himself. The few who claimed to see it spoke of a gaze too intelligent for stillness. Was it destroyed, or is it hanging in a forgotten gallery, eyes watching still? You might imagine Leonardo slipping it beneath floorboards, smiling to himself. To paint yourself and let no one find it. Let that mystery frame your dreams tonight. Hey friends, let's briefly revisit a voice from earlier. In 1826, William Morgan vanished after threatening to expose Masonic secrets. His disappearance sparked riots, the birth of the anti-Masonic Party, and endless speculation. No confirmed grave, no body, just silence where truth might have been. You might picture a printing press still warm from his hands, the final page waiting for ink. To speak too much, and be heard only through absence. Let that blank page calm your thoughts. Dear listener, as we close this chapter, don't forget, if these soft riddles bring you peace, subscribe to follow the final steps. Now step deep into the Amazon once more. Paititi, a legendary Inca city of gold, was said to lie hidden in the jungle. Spanish records whisper of its roads. Locals tell tales of walls swallowed by trees. Expeditions vanish. Clues mislead. Some think it was real. Others say it's only a metaphor. But the silence around it is strangely specific. You might imagine stone temples beneath vines, humming quietly with secrets, to be lost and never stop being searched for. Let that golden silence rest with you tonight. Hey friends, return once more to Italy, 1938. Ettore Majorana, the genius physicist said to rival Einstein, boards a boat from Palermo to Naples. He never disembarks. No body, no note. Only a calm farewell letter, cryptic and composed. He once said, "There are no problems, only questions." Did he hide away in a monastery? Was he lost to war? Or did he seek anonymity among his equations? You might picture him scribbling formulas beneath candlelight, letting his name dissolve into margins. To understand the universe and choose silence, let the atoms still themselves beside your thoughts. You're now walking the volcanic valleys of ancient Mesoamerica. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity, once king, once god, was said to have walked east toward the rising sun and vanished. Some say he promised to return. Others believe he became the morning star. Was he myth, man, or both? His temples remain, his name whispered in stone, but his ending? Only legend. You might imagine his robe trailing behind him in desert sand, each step melting into horizon. To rule by myth and live through memory, let that feathered silence float through your breath. Hey friends, one last time we return to the snowy silence of Canada. A village near Lake Anjikuni, once full of Inuit families, is found completely deserted. Fireplaces still warm, food uneaten, sled dogs dead in their harnesses. Every soul gone. Some say it was illness. Others speak of strange lights in the sky, or something older than story. You might picture footprints ending at the edge of a frozen lake, vanishing into glass. To leave behind everything without a sound, let the snow drift over your dreams tonight. You're walking again in the quiet lanes of Woolpit, England. Two green-tinged children emerge from the woods. No one knows from where. One dies. The other learns to speak. She says they came from a land of twilight. And then her story ends, as softly as it began. Were they lost children from elsewhere? Or was this a tale embroidered by years? You might imagine the forest opening just slightly and closing just as quickly, to appear from nowhere and leave no path behind. Let the leaves rustle gently across your pillow. Hey friends, now step into the warm air above Luanda, 2003. A Boeing 727, parked, grounded, inactive for months, suddenly powers up. It takes off, unauthorized, no communication, no transponder, and vanishes. No confirmed sighting, no wreckage, no ransom, just a massive airplane. Gone. Theories range from theft to secret deals to remote crashes, but nothing concrete. You might imagine the jet gliding silently above clouds, fading into sunlight. To steal something that large and leave no mark. Let that mystery drift quietly above your resting mind. You are now in 1970s London once again. Lord Lucan, charming, troubled, vanishes after his children's nanny is found dead. His car, blood-stained, abandoned, and then silence. For decades, sightings trickle in from Australia, India, and Africa. None confirmed. Did he take his life, escape into luxury, or was he silenced by those he trusted? You might picture a man walking through airport shadows, name and face dissolving like steam. To disappear with title, scandal, and mystery is to live on forever in question. Let the fog of his footsteps settle beside yours tonight. Hey friends, take one last quiet march into mist. In 120 CE, the Roman Ninth Legion disappears north of Hadrian's Wall. No battle records, no memorials, only the eerie absence of 5,000 men. Some say they were slaughtered, others that they dissolved into other legions. A few claim they became legend. You might hear the faint clang of armor, marching into fog, never out. To lose an army and gain a myth, let that rhythm march softly beneath your ribs. You're now in Mexico, mid-20th century. B. Traven, the mysterious author of The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, refuses all interviews. No one knows his true identity. He mails manuscripts, declines photos, appears only as a voice behind a door. Some say he was a German anarchist, others an American exile. A few think he was several people. You might imagine a typewriter glowing faintly in a dark room, pages sliding into envelopes. To write without name is to become the story itself. Let the ink fade softly into your dreams. Hey friends, now walk carefully into Northern California, 1978. 5 men, mentally challenged but high-functioning, go on a trip to watch a basketball game. They vanish. Their car is later found in the snow, miles from any main road. Months later, some bodies are found in the woods, others never recovered. Food and supplies were left untouched. Shoes were missing. Fires unfired. Why they went there is still a riddle. You might imagine headlights fading into forest, voices calling out that never echo back. To be lost, not once, but in layers. Let the forest sleep beside you now. Dear listener, you've traveled through 100 vanishings. Some were grand, others quiet. Some never happened. Others never left. But here, now, in this moment, time itself feels different, doesn't it? Where did it go? You might be lying in bed, hours later, wondering how you slipped so gently between stories and dreams. Your breath is steady, your body warm, and your thoughts, perhaps somewhere in the shadows of story. To disappear for a while isn't always a loss. Sometimes it's rest. Let yourself fade softly into sleep.